Hello and welcome out to the Dice Tower. I'm Wendy Yi, and today you're joining me for a Q&A. So before we get all of that started and going into all of that, we do have a competition. So Game Nerds is giving away a $10 gift certificate, gift card, gift thing. $10 at Game Nerds. There you go. So go ahead and do contest at dicetower.com. You can send us an email and put it in the subject line metric. So all that information is down below. I'll leave that up there for just a second. And yeah, so go ahead and start putting your thoughts and your comments and your questions in the comments. And we can go ahead and start from there. Let me tell you about my week so far. So everyone is at Essen. Like everyone's at Essen except me and Roy. And it was super fun actually having him here because I know there's going to be future conventions. There's been some conventions in the past where it's just me. So it's fun to have a buddy. It's fun to hang out here. But I've had a lot of time to myself in the evenings. It's been so weird. So Chris and I typically, we play like 3 to 5 games a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I would say on average, like 3 to 5 nights a week, we're playing games. And so I've had an entire week where I haven't really played anything because I don't really play solo. I'd rather play with somebody than not. And so I have just been filling my time with so many other things and also a whole lot of staring at my phone and like sitting in my recliner chair and chillaxing. So it's been nice. It's been a little lonely, but it's been nice. So I finished 3 books this week, about 20 to 25 miniatures, and I watched a couple movies and I did almost all of the 1,000-piece puzzle of A Feast for Odin, which I have this like hit or miss feeling with puzzles. I like the idea of doing them more than I actually enjoy doing them because I find all the tediousness of like, okay, dump out all the pieces, let's flip them all over, now we have to sort them, now we have to find the outside, let's find the corners. I don't know, for some reason, like all of that part of it, I get really frustrated with in a very short amount of time. But I want to put this on our wall. It was one that I think we got from BGG, and I'm really excited to put it in our game room because we just don't really have wall decor stuff in there. It's just kind of very blank right now. So I was very excited to do it, and I'm stuck on the sky. So it's just like, I don't know, 100 to 200 pieces of just blue and white and gray. And they all look the same, and I swear that I've been looking for the same piece, and I've gone through every piece. I even have them sorted out so that all the different shapes are together based on like shape and color and size. I've sorted it all, and I still can't find this like one piece, and I keep being stuck on the same spot. But at some point, it will get finished, and it will get Mod Podge, and it will be put on my wall, and it will be beautiful. So anyways, I'm excited about that. That was my week. So let me go ahead and look through your comments and see what you all are interested in asking. Oh, is the audio a bit low? It is at 100%. I speak quietly and we're using a boom mic. So I will do my best to speak loud. I apologize if it's a little bit low. And maybe that was the intro because I know we turned down the intro so that hopefully my voice will be a little louder. We'll see. Not sure how it is, but yeah, get your questions out there. Give me something. In the meantime, while you're all pondering on what to ask me, I threw up on Facebook for some people that aren't going to be here at the Q&A. And I asked them what their questions would be. And so my favorite right here is, can you provide an update on Chris Yi's secret plan to overthrow Mike DeLisio? Let me just say that I'm picking up Chris and Mike at the airport, and Chris asked me to bring the luggage holder that goes on top of the car. Pretty sure you can fit a human being in there. So that's the most recent update on the overthrow Mike DeLisio plan. Okay, let's see. We've got, what tips would you have for someone who wants to start painting but has 0 experience? I think it depends. I ponder on this because that's another Facebook question that I got was, what was it? It was, what is the absolute first thing I should do if I want to start painting? I think the thing is you have to know you and you have to know your level of hobby. Is this something that you're really hoping that you're going to dive into and do a ton? And so you want to buy everything, get everything, do everything because you're going to use it? Or is this going to be a thing that like you want to try it, you're curious, but you don't necessarily want to unload hundreds of dollars to get all the fancy paints and all the fancy brushes and all the this, that, and the others? Do you want to dabble in it and see if you like it? So I think that's kind of where we're going here. So I started just wanting to dabble. I actually, because I don't play a lot of miniatures games, I play D&D, and then just recently I played Adventure Tactics. Our daughter got that, and I'm painting those miniatures for her, and I'm very excited about that. But the way I started was I had some cheap acrylic like toll paint kind of things just sitting at home. And so I started with that. They're like $1 at Walmart. If you don't have any, don't buy the cheap ones. Buy Walmart's most expensive ones. They're like $1 or $2. It does make a difference. They're way more opaque, which means that when you put on a layer of color, you don't see through it as much. It'll like show up better on the figure. But yeah, buy those cheap paints. Don't worry about buying the super fancy Vallejo stuff unless you think you're going to get into it and you think you're going to really enjoy it. I honestly, I used those for years, and I bought a really nice white and a really nice black. That way I could add, because they're even more opaque if you buy like a good brand like a Vallejo or a Citadel or something like that. So I bought a white and a black so that I could mix with all my other colors and I could add that opacity that I wanted and that richness, especially with the light colors, because there's a lot of really bad oranges and reds and yellows out there. And so I thought, well, if I can add in a little bit of white to it, it'll lighten it up, but it'll also make it so that it shows up on the miniature better. So I guess that's my tip, is that if you're not sure if it's something that you're going to want to do, and you just want to try and you don't know where to start, I would say buy some cheap paints, get some basic colors. You don't need 300 colors. Get some colors. You learned in elementary school that if you put, green mixed with yellow, it's going to be a little lighter of a green, a little bit more yellow. We learned a lot of those things in school. At least I hope you did. You don't have to know color wheels and all that fanciness. But yeah, just try it out. See what happens. There's going to be a lot of grays, browns, blacks, just those kind of colors. A lot of miniatures are not bright unless you're painting kids' games or it's specifically an art style that's very bright. I find that I use mostly browns, blacks, skin tones, and whites and grays. I think that's what I use a lot of, and then I'll occasionally throw in some other colors. So if you're not sure what colors to buy, don't buy the super bright stuff. Get yourself a good brown, a good black, a good gray, a good white, all that kind of stuff. Work from there. But yeah, just start. I guess that's my main advice, is just start. Start with something. Get a miniature, get a spray can of primer, and spray it on, let it completely dry, and then just try. I honestly, I got some cheap brushes from Walmart. They come in little packs of 10 or 15 when I started, and they would get kind of messed up and they'd start expanding and spreading out. And I would take clippers and I would go in and I would clip all the ones that went weird directions so that then I could keep a point on my brush. I did that for years. Also, if you clip down a brush, all the edges, you can get really tiny bristles. And so those bigger brushes that maybe can't let you do eyes and those super fine details that you want, use nail clippers and get rid of half the hairs, and then they're small. So I know that's a lot of different advice, but I guess that's really it, is get some high quality cheap stuff, spray can, some brushes, and just go at it and have fun and see what you can do. I would definitely look up dry brushing and washing. If you can figure out how to do those two things, which you can do with just basic cheap paints, if you can figure that out, that saves a world of sins when it comes to painting. Also, don't be afraid to paint over. If you mess it up, you can do the whole simple green thing where you strip it, or you can just paint over it again and thin out whatever you did, let it dry, and try again. So that's my grand advice there. Okay. Final Girl is not in the library. I know Camilla and Mike both play it a bunch, but yeah, it's not in the library. And then, let's see. Oh my goodness. 1,000 pieces. My family is 4 months into assembling a 5,000 piece, and we still have less than half completed. I have never seen a 5,000 piece puzzle. Either it's ginormous or the pieces are like smaller than my pinky. I cannot believe that. How big? Oh, I'm just very curious, Michael, how big that puzzle is, or how small those pieces are. Maybe it's one of those 3D ones. Maybe it's like you're building it up and around. Maybe they're building a castle in their house made out of cardboard or foam core or whatever stuff they use for those 3D puzzles. Do Chris and I ever go into pun offs? No, we don't. However, poor Chris, when he first came to visit and like meet my parents, my mom has a tendency to do that. If she'll like throw out a pun, and if someone picks up on it, then she will definitely like throw out some more and see what happens. And so Chris definitely stood his ground in that regard, and I think he won over my mom that way. I think that's how that worked. What is my favorite fruit to throw? Well, I don't throw fruit, but I imagine throwing a watermelon would be very rewarding, because there's something about like the crack and the juiciness of like something that is very full of liquid and heavy hitting the ground. So probably watermelon, like a good super ripe watermelon, just like shot put it and hurl it forward and exploding everywhere. Yeah. Oh, that sounds really fun. Also, I'm like terrified every time I bring in a watermelon, and I'm like, set it down nicely on the floor, Wendy. Don't let it crack open and make a mess. So, I've not played Caper Europe. My favorite thing to do in the fall. I mean, I like Halloween. I think that dressing up is tons of fun. So I enjoy that aspect of it. I also really like soups. And we don't get that here in Florida. We don't get the like fall chill, but there's something really wonderful about making a pot of soup, and you're cold and it's chilly and you're just like, I'm just going to sit down with my bowl and I'm going to like half snuggle it while I eat because it's going to warm me up. I really like soups. I eat a lot less soup now that I've moved here. Though honestly, back in Las Vegas, so here's the thing is I grew up in a house where my parents kept the temperature at like 69 degrees all the time. So year round, even though I lived in Las Vegas and it was super hot, I loved soup. I would make soup. We would eat soup, all the above. When I moved out on my own when I was 18 and I was living with roommates, we had no money. So our AC was at like 80 degrees instead of 69 degrees. And so I realized that I didn't like soup as much when my house was always hot. And so that's kind of here. At least I'd have wintertime in Las Vegas. We don't have winter here. So there's a lot less soup going on in my life. But it's still wonderful. What did Chris do with the amazing egg cup? Let's just say that it is going to haunt Mike for the rest of his life. It is around, and it will stay around. It is to the point that Chris had to choose between holding the egg cup, or putting it in a bag and carrying something else. And he's like, I must hold this egg cup to protect it. So it will be around. Expected. Do we do a family themed costume for Halloween? Oh, we do. Almost every year. So I'm trying to think. I don't know what we did last year because COVID and stuff. We didn't do much last year. Last year was kind of weird. But the first year, I'm just going to go through our daughter's lifespan that I can remember. The first year we did pirates. So first year we did magicians. So I made Chris like a little cape. And so he was a magician, and then I got like a little magician's assistant outfit kind of thing. And then our daughter was a bunny because she was like literally a month old. She was tiny. And I just got her this little like bunny zip up jammy set thing that was super cute. Then the next year we were pirates, and we got Zatanna a bandana, and so she had this cute little bandana that she wore, and then I had a fun, I don't know, hat corset thing, and then Chris had a pirate costume with some cool dreadlocks and stuff, so that was fun. And then the next year, what did we do? Trying to remember that. Oh, the next year we did Jurassic Park. I don't know if you have seen. Chris wears a lab coat in some of his intros. Well, the lab coat and this other shirt, we had gotten some Jurassic Park patches. And so I don't know if he took them off or if they're still on there. But a lot of the costumes that he uses for like his intros and the weird stuff like that for his rapid fire roundups are actually from our previous family Halloween costumes. So I was at Savers and I found this perfect dinosaur sweater with a hoodie for our daughter. And so, I mean, she was like 2 years old. So, yeah. So I bought that, and then we decided that we'd order some Jurassic Park patches, and then we got a lab coat, and then Chris got just like a, I don't know, some like khaki button-up shirt. And I sewed those on, and then I used puff paint because I wanted to have like a big Jurassic Park sign and not just like a little thing. So I used some puff paint, and I made this felt logo that I then like somehow attached to my shirt and Chris's shirt. So we'd have a giant Jurassic Park logo on it so people could really see what it was. So anyways, Chris was an animal handler and I was the DNA assistant. Then the year after that, my daughter was Aurora and I was Maleficent, and then Chris was Disney Plus. So he literally just wore a blue shirt with a plus sign on it. So anyway, so that's a few of the years, at least the years that I can remember, not including COVID and its weirdness. So this year, our plan is to go as Pokemon trainers. So Zatanna is going to be Pikachu, and I got her this really cute hat where she squeezes the little hangy down parts and the ears pop up, and it's very cute. And I'm going as Misty, and Chris is going as Ash. So that's our grand plan for Halloween. We're very excited about it. Who DMs my campaign? So back in Las Vegas, we have a really good friend. His name is Dominic, and he has been our DM. It's the only game of D&D I've ever played, and it's never ended. So we have been in this weird lull. So I'm hoping we finish. We're so close to the end, but we haven't played in like 3 months because everybody's telecommuting now because our team has progressively moved across the country as we've been playing. But we've played for, I think, 4 or 5 years now, the same storyline, and we're, like, literally at the end. Like we can taste it. We can feel it. The moment is there. We've been collecting all these little items, and we're almost there. So I'm excited about it. He's a wonderful DM. He's a really good friend. He's been around forever. How many cups and dishes break in my home every year? Very few up to this point because mostly I had kid stuff. I had kid plates and kid cups, and I had 30 of them, and Chris and I ate off of them. Well, I just actually, in like this last year, decided that I would finally progress in advance to some real plates. So we shall see. But not a lot breaks in our house. It is just Chris, me, and our daughter. So, and she's a pretty awesome kid. Let's see. What is my favorite meal or treat? My favorite food is variety. That's it. No, I'm really into japchae right now. I love Korean food, and I learned how to make japchae, which when I did my at the table thing, I talked a little bit about that. But it's been my like go-to thing. I also really like rice bowls. So you just basically get some sort of protein, some sort of vegetable, throw it on rice, add in a variety of Asian-ish sauces. Like that's one of my favorite go-to dinners. It feeds a lot of people. It feeds nobody. There's tons of leftovers. I can bring it to work. So that's kind of those are my favorite foods right now. I have a special place in my heart for Korean food and Asian food and just lots of deliciousness. Besides a luggage rack for the car, did Chris also ask for a large kennel to be strapped down on the luggage rack? Large enough for a person, perhaps? No, but we only need to fit one person in there, and that luggage rack is big enough for that. So That is all. You know, I've never used Nuln Oil, so it's my favorite flavor of paint. I've never used Nuln Oil, but I assume that it's very similar to Warpaint's black wash. That's what I've understood and guessed. Maybe I'm wrong. But I do love washes. And recently, Tom's daughter moved to college, and so I got a lot of her old paints, and she had a larger set of washes than I had. And so now I have like a blue wash and a purple wash and a green wash, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to like use these different colors. Let's see. How was playing Journeys on stream? It was great. It was great. I enjoy Journey to Middle-earth, the Lord of the Rings game with the app. It's tons of fun. So back in Las Vegas, Chris and I had played it. We played it at Meepleville, but the problem was that it wasn't our copy, and so every time we went back to play it again, it was like a hot mess. Like, I don't know what it was, but people wouldn't put away the pieces. They wouldn't reorganize stuff, and so I felt like we always spend like a half an hour trying to organize and set up the game. And then we'd play it, and it'd be great. And then we'd put it away and be like, oh, next time we come, we're going to have to do all of this over again. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fun to play it with Roy. I was surprised that particular scenario didn't really have any combat. And so we basically, like, I fought one dude, and the rest of the time I went around looking for stuff. So it was fun. It was fun. But yeah, maybe a little bit more fighting next time would be my jam. Let's see. Ooh, a 1,000-piece puzzle of cartographers to glue and hang up in the game room. That sounds really cool. I really want like good art for my game room, so that's exciting. Let's see. Is there a game that I didn't think I would like at all but ended up enjoying very much, or a game that I was really excited about that I ended up not liking at all? I'm gonna have to think about that one. Maybe I shouldn't have put that on the screen because I don't just have one that like pops in my head. I think I was surprised with that Caesars game with how much Chris talked it up that I was gonna like it more. But I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't enamored. I think Turing Machine, I think I liked it as much as I thought I was going to like it, which is not what your question is at all. But I think that was one. Lacrimosa, I've played once, and we're going to review it, so I'm not going to give too many spoilers there. But that one, after a single play, I'm not sure how I feel yet, so I'm going to have to play that again, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty games out there that are good. Oh, Cat in the Box. Cat in the Box. I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I enjoy trick-taking games. I think they're fun, and I thought the interesting element of you determine what suit your cards are. I thought I was gonna like that more than I did, but I really didn't like the way that the board in front of you interacted, because basically, if you have a good set of cards, you're going to try to win as many tricks as you can get and then get that many points. But if you don't have good cards, then your whole goal is to make that board in the middle work for you and to build a nice connection. And I feel like every time, maybe not every single time, but a lot of the times that I like actually make a good connection, I'm like, ooh, I've got like 4 or 5 things out. I got my bid correctly. You know, I got my one win or whatever it is. Like, I lined everything up, and then someone causes a paradox. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I was going to get so many points, and it was going to be amazing, and I worked so hard at this, and, like, you caused a paradox. I get nothing. But everybody that won trick still gets their points. I think that is, like, so disappointing to me, because I think that the rest of the game is really cool. That's all. That is all. My general feelings on that. Let's see what else we got. Does Chris make as many puns and Simpsons references at home as on the channel? I mean, obviously when he's on camera, he's on. And so he is a very snippy, witty person. And he's good at that. Does he, I mean, he makes Simpson references at home. And honestly, I never grew up watching The Simpsons. So the Simpson references that I know are because of Chris. And Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation. When him and his brother are together, they are just like quoting machines. Because they grew up watching it together, right? So they are just like, they're great. Ah, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, he's punny, he's witty. It's just a part of life. Our daughter understands puns, so I guess, yes. I guess we are that way at home. Ooh, this sounds delicious. Apple cheddar butternut squash soup. Yes. Will you send the recipe to wendy@dicetower.com, Sean? Because that sounds delicious. Also, I need more soup in my life. Let's see what else we got here. No Team Rocket costumes? No Team Rocket. We're not going to go blasting off again, sadly. In fact, so Pokemon is one of those weird things that I wasn't really into, but it just happened to be on after school. My parents owned a daycare, and so from like noon to 2 or 1 to 2, or I don't know, there was a certain time frame that like everybody had to be quiet in the house because the children were sleeping, and we had like a room in the back of our house that was built to be the childcare. And so I would get home from school and all the lights would be off, everything would be quiet and dim, and so the only thing to do was to like sit and watch TV. And so for some reason Pokemon was like the show that was always on, and my brother would turn it on and he loved it. And so I watched more Pokemon than I meant to watch, I guess. It's not one of those things that like I'm a diehard fan, because it just kind of was on. And so like if you had asked me as a child if I was a fan of Pokemon, I'd be like, no, but I've seen it. And so it's funny that now I feel like it's had this resurgence because my husband is showing it to my daughter, and that's like their special like daddy-daughter time together on Wednesdays when I volunteer for our church. And so it's super sweet that she's like super into Pokemon. And in my mind, I'm like, I was never super into Pokemon, but I liked Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. Do we sleeve the cards in our games? No. We sleeved Dead of Winter back when we played it all the time, which we don't even own that one anymore. But I tend to not soup up my own games. One, we don't own very many. We try to keep it like 70-ish or under, and that includes a lot of like little games. But yeah, I don't soup up our games very much. We did early on, like when we had Dead of Winter. That was probably the game that we did the most to. I made a foam core insert out of push pins and foam core because I wanted the sleeves to fit in the box. And if we had purchased the broken token, or I don't remember what it was, but there was something that didn't fit card sleeves. And so because we had sleeved everything and it was huge and it took up so much space, I like created my own insert, and it was a fun little like challenge. I did that to that game, and I did it to DC deck building because there's just so many cards for those that I created a bunch of different little slots. And we were able to fit all of our expansions for DC deck building into one box because I just literally had like, I just basically made sections for cards to stand up, and so they were just full. But yeah, I think that's the only one that we ever sleeved. Okay, Nuln Oil is a brown wash. Okay, so it's not the black one, it's the dark brown. I think what they call it, like strong wash for Army Painter. Okay, on miniature painting, do you like more painting serious sculpts or cartoon animated ones? Honestly, I feel like the serious ones are easier because you can use all those little like cheater tips and tricks. The dry brushing and the washing and kind of layering that color. The cartoony ones are surprisingly more work because they have very precise lines and very precise colors. So if you're trying to do a face, you're doing the face. And so if I do like a normal face on a really tiny miniature, I'll put like giant drops of white, like kind of like this huge on the face. And then I'll put in whatever color of the iris, and then I'll put a little dot of black in between, and then I'll kind of clean up the edges, and then I'll fill in the skin tone, which gets rid of all the white. That's kind of like my way to do eyes. But when you do them on such like cartoony things, I don't know, I feel like the eyes are so much bigger that cleaning up around them is harder because you need that perfect circle You need like all of those details. And then every part of the eye, like the iris and then the pupil, all of it has to be like these perfect circles because they're so big. But they're not big that like, oh, that's easy. They're just bigger. And so I feel like it's easier to mess up and be like, oh, my eyes are wonky. They're over, you know what I mean? Like they're focusing in different directions and stuff. And then when you're doing the colors, like especially some like the Marvel United, X-Men United characters that I did, they're fun, but like some of the lines were so precise. Like if you're doing Spider-Man's webbing and stuff, you need like the tiniest little brushes to get in there to get like the black and stuff. So yeah, like it's harder to throw in a quick dry brush or a quick wash because if you're sticking a wash over the top of a very cartoony thing, it messes with the look of it and it loses that cartooniness, and it just kind of looks messy. At least in my mind, it looks messy. So there has to be a lot more of like layering and stuff if you're going to make it fancy, or you just keep it straight, just solid color blocking. And that's what I tend to do just because I'm working quickly for Tom, that I just tend to do basic colors. Yeah. So anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I don't watch sports at all. Chris watches enough sports that Chris can talk sports. I can't even talk sports. We don't really watch sports. Not our thing. Was I into board games before meeting Chris, or is he the one who got me into the hobby? Yes, I grew up playing board games. Muggins and what do you call it? Racco. So Muggins, Racco, Rummy Tiles, Monopoly, Risk. Like those are the games that I played growing up. Life, so a lot of those basics. But then I definitely feel like the card games more, like the Racco and the Muggins and the honestly Settlers of Zarahemla, which is basically Settlers of Catan. So I grew up playing those, and then I didn't play board games for a long time. And in college, I'd go to like friends' game nights. So we'd play like, some sort of party game. Or I remember playing Robo Rally at like some board game night that people had played. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's fun. But then when Chris and I were getting married, we were engaged, we were getting married. His brother flew down from Alaska for a month for our wedding. And then that's when he introduced us to Munchkin, which I hate, and Catan and Dominion. And Dominion's the one that stuck. Catan we played a lot, but I never really loved it. And I knew that I had played the other version before. But then yeah, Dominion's where it was really at, and that's where we all exploded together with it. So Chris did not get me into board games. Chris's brother got me back into board games. That's what I'll say. How's it been with you and Roy holding down the content creation for it? It's been good. We haven't had anything that we've needed to do, quote unquote. So I've just been cleaning up the library for post-retreat stuff, painting miniatures. Honestly, today I spent like 2.5 hours pulling the little stickers off the acrylic bases for Picture Perfect. They have like these little transparent bluish stickers that I don't know if you've peeled off acrylic things. It's almost like the protective sheen that's on your phone. But there was like 200 of them to do. So I was doing that and then I was gluing them together. That was my morning. It would be funny if Wendy and Roy reorganized everything and moved everyone's stuff. Okay, so Chris and I have this history of pranking things. But like nice pranks. Not like that kind of prank of like completely reorganizing things. But we actually met by, we broke into this like college church building kind of thing. It's kind of like a social area / it had like Bible classes and stuff, scripture classes. And so we broke in with a bunch of friends and we turned it into Mario World. And so we did tons of fun stuff. We had this like huge wall. We made a whole scene for Mario World, and then we hung boxes from the ceiling that you could punch and a coin would fall out. And we just did a lot of things. And then we progressively did that for like 5 or 6 years, while we were married and together and everything like that. During that whole time, we've done lots of different things. There was a gift wrapping night where everything was wrapped in gift wrap. We did a board game one where I made a giant Monopoly board. I found these like huge pieces of paper, and I just made a Monopoly, like each one of the little hotels or houses or whatever they are. I made one for each square, and then we posted it all over the wall. And then we did this big clue game where every day they would reveal some sort of clue, and then people were supposed to guess it, like who killed who in our organization. It was fun. It was fun. We did a lot of fun stuff like that. We did a dinosaur attack one time. We just did a lot of fun, silly things. So all of that, to tie it back, is it would be fun to do something here, but I feel like I need my like Chris, you know? I need my my prankster person to do it with me. I can't just do it on my own. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe someday when there's a convention and I'm stuck here all by myself, watch out. It could be something. I need ideas. Email me ideas. That's what I want. Let me see. What else we got here? Okay, this person is saying is Nuln is black and a Grax Earthshade is brown. So maybe I was right. Or who knows? Maybe it's like a grayish, blackish brown. Let's see. What kind of books do I like to read? I really love fantasy. So the 3 books that I read this week, I reread the Divergent series because I'm currently reading The Wheel of Time, but I use library audiobooks and I have to wait. And because every Wheel of Time book is 30 plus hours, there's a lot of waiting in between books. So I think I'm on book 13 of 14. I'm either on 12 or 13 for The Wheel of Time. So as I was waiting for that, I had a whole bunch of other books reserved. And I was like, you know what? I read Divergent a bajillion years ago. And it came available, so I decided that I was going to read it. And then I realized that I had an entire week, and all the other ones were not on hold. They were just available. So I listened to all 3. And I have to say, I mean, it's young adult literature. It's dystopia, which I tend to enjoy those. But I feel like a lot of dystopias tend to be kind of all the same. So if you've read The Giver, or you've read Hunger Games, or you've read Divergent, like they all kind of have a same feel to them. They're very young adult. They're very, the romances in them seem very immature. But, you know, they battle and they win, and, you know, some terrible government's overthrown. I think what was interesting about this was rereading it. Like, I expected all of that stuff, and I'm fine with all of the immaturity and all of that. But I was surprised that, like, the ending made me feel like, man, like, society just sucks. Like, no matter what, we're never going to have, like, there's always going to be someone evil that takes over a government or something. And this is not a commentary on anything modern. This is just literally like, yeah. My commentary is nothing about anything in modern life and day, but just, I don't know. I feel like it kind of felt like they just kept overthrowing governments that then just had other governments that were evil that took over them. And it was this weird thing that it was supposed to end with hope, but I kind of didn't feel like it ended with hope. So anyways, that was all. If you like young adult novels, they're fine. They're nothing amazing. Read The Wheel of Time. It's better. It's also long, though. And I get that there's a lot of description of clothing. And I know Tom has an issue with a couple of the characters. And rereading it, I agree that, like, some of the female characters they're not very mature either. But all of that said, I really enjoy The Wheel of Time. And I really enjoy Brandon Sanderson. And, the other series that I really like is the Mercy Thompson series. That one I do highly recommend. It is very, very good. It is by Patricia Briggs, and it is essentially about this girl that she is a coyote, and it is like Native American magic that she is a coyote, and she can like shapeshift. And she's raised by these werewolves because her mom didn't know what to do with her. Basically, she's like, I don't know what's going on with my daughter. She turns into a coyote occasionally. So I'm going to go have her be raised by werewolves. And so it's kind of her story, but she's a very strong female lead character. They're fun. They're exciting. She's got some sass to her, and she's very capable. But it's also not like hyper girl power either, because I don't like that end of things either. I don't know. I just really like her. It's very awesome. If you like vampires and werewolves and all of that, it's not teen. It's not young adult. And so I appreciate that. But it's also not like bloody, gory, gross either. Like it's still, I don't know. I really enjoy it. So anyways, that's my recommendation. Let's see. Did I watch Werewolf by Night? No, I saw it on, that's Disney Plus, right? That's the new Marvel thing. I know nothing about it. It popped up. I saw it and I was thinking about watching it the other day, but then I needed to finish some miniatures and I needed to work on that stupid puzzle. I'll get there someday. But yeah, have you watched it? Do you like it? Is it good? I think audiobooks are a whole different art style, like old radio, as the voice actors and sound effects are such a big part of it. The Star Wars audiobooks are so good. It's interesting because being an audiobook fan, I've had there's so many different levels of how involved the audiobooks are from an audio perspective. So I've had ones that are just a single reader and they don't do voices very well, and they're just basically, it'd be as if I was reading, untrained and everything like that. And I've had some really, really like bad ones where there was a particular one. I don't think I made it through the whole book. I just remember that the guy would like gasp for air all the time. So he was very brooding and reading. And it was a young adult novel. That's what it was. It was a young adult novel. I wish for the life of me I remembered what it was. But the girl was fine. I listened to her on double speed. So she sounded like this, and she was like really like hyper loud, I don't know, cutesy sounding. But the guy, he would gasp and he would brood. And so doing that on double speed, it was like him talking like this. And he'd take really deep breaths. And it was terrible. I don't think I finished that book. It was really rough. But on the other hand, you have readers, like I really enjoy the readers that read for Brandon Sanderson are the same ones that read for Robert Jordan for The Wheel of Time. It's Kate Redding and another guy. I don't remember his name. But I really enjoy them, and they tend to she'll read when there's a chapter that's from the perspective of a female, and he'll read when there's a chapter from a perspective of a male. But they do very good voices. They're very consistent. And so you know who's talking based on what they say. And I really enjoy it. But it doesn't have sound effects. It doesn't have all that extra other like acting stuff. It doesn't have individual actors for each voice. I have read some books like that. And those are pretty cool. They're just so different. And I think that it messes with my brain a little bit. Having those like full cast audiobooks, I think is what they're called, because they're, it's not what I'm expecting. It's not what I'm going for. But I still enjoy them. I read The Goose Girl. I'm talking about a lot of young adult stuff here. But yeah, that was another YA novel that I read that had the full cast audio, and it was very interesting. I read a couple of the Thrawn books. Those are the only Star Wars books that I've read. And I think I remember that, yeah, they did have sound effects and stuff. And those were different, yeah. Especially because I'm listening on double speed. And so everything is higher pitch and everything's faster. And so instead of being like, pew, 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 it's like, pew, 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 and then it's over. It's just way quick. Let me see what else we got. Mercy Thompson series is the best urban fantasy series. That's awesome, Sean. Have I read any of the offshoot books? Yeah, I've read a lot of the Alpha and Omega ones, and those are really good. Not as good as Mercy Thompson, though. They're good, but not as good. I just really like the lead. Wheel Time, super good. The Dresden Files. I feel like I tried to read a Dresden File and couldn't get into it. I'm trying to remember. Is he basically like a Sherlock but not a Sherlock kind of thing? I'm trying to remember, but more like fantasy. Have I ever played... Let me see, can I add that? Have I ever played Grand Austria Hotel? I feel my wife might enjoy playing it, but can't find it anywhere. Would value my thoughts. I really like Grand Austria Hotel. It's one that I think Chris played before me at Mapleville, and then he introduced it to me. And it's one of those that like I liked it the first time I played it, and then I progressively loved it more and more. It's just the way that you're trying to fill the rooms and meet guests' needs and all those kind of things, but you're also building on that board. Like on the room board, you have to build up and you have to work your way over, and you're trying to get certain colors because certain colors mean certain things. I like that. And then I also like that there's some sort of prestige track. I don't remember what it's called. Mechanisms, stuff, theme, things. But anyways, there's some sort of prestige track that you're trying to move up, but every round you kind of fall back down some. And so you're trying to be good enough that bad stuff doesn't happen to you, but also you so you can be like good enough, or you can progress even farther and then you can get like a bonus. So it's one of those that you're trying to move up on that, but if you only do that, then you don't get your rooms filled and you don't take care of your guests and you're not going to win the game. But if you can take care of the things you need to take care of and you can move up on that track, you can get some really good bonuses and some really awesome things at the end of the game. And so I enjoy that push and pull, and I yes, it's a very good game. It's one of my faves. Okay, what are my top 3 games that if their components were 100% real, you would like to eat them? Go Nuts for Donuts and Sushi Go. That's 2. They're the first 2 that popped in my head. My daughter used to love Go Nuts for Donuts. That was one of the early games that we played with her, and I know that it's not like a kid's game, but it was easy to play with her when she didn't know anything about strategy or anything about rules. She would basically just flip over a number, and if we happened to match her, then she didn't get a donut, and if we didn't, then she'd get a donut. And she didn't care about score, but she was playing a game with us. And so we played a lot of that, and she would always pick the pink sprinkle donut. And it's one of like the most useless donuts. I don't remember what it does. I remember it's like minus a point or something like that. And I think you take a donut from somebody else, or you give a donut, or you take a donut off the top of the stack. There's something like that like it's a very specific thing that only if you're taking a donut that's going to give you points is it worth it, because it's minus points. But she'd always take it. But that was fun. And then Sushi Go. Every time that I play Sushi Go, I want to eat sushi. Every single time I'm like, oh, it looks so good. So those are my 2 favorite. Audiobooks are the best. I really enjoy graphic audio, especially for Stormlight Archives. What is graphic audio? Is that different than regular audio? Can that be explained? Mike, please explain. Top 3 games on the top 100 BGG that I don't like. I didn't like Twilight Imperium. Go figure. You know what? Let me take one brief moment. I hope this doesn't break anything in the stream. Let me look up the BGG top 100, and I will tell you the games that I don't like. Oh, that's not it. Games of all time. Wait, now I'm confused. I need to figure out how to get the top 100. I just forgot how to do that. And for some reason, Google searching didn't do it. Let's see, browse all board games. Let's do that. That's probably how you get there. Here we go. Okay. So I love Gloomhaven. I love Brass. I love Pandemic Legacy. Ark Nova is good. Terraforming Mars is good. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion I love. Don't love Twilight Imperium. That's not my fan. I don't think I would like Star Wars Rebellion. I have not played it. I have not played Gaia Project, but I think I would like it. War of the Ring, don't know enough about. I do like Spirit Island. Through the Ages, I played once on Board Game Arena. It was fine. Great Western Trail. I didn't love my play of it, but I also didn't have a good teach. And I tend to like Pfister, but I don't always like Pfister. And so I'm not sure if it's the teach or not. Chris doesn't like it. He's played it again a couple times, and it's never sung to him the way that some of the other games have. So that's a maybe. Twilight Struggle, I have zero interest in playing. Dune Imperium is fine. Scythe is fine. Castles in Burgundy, it's a little more than fine. No, it's mostly fine. Haven't played Nemesis. Seven Wonders Duel is good. Brest Lancashire is not as good as Birmingham, but still good. Concordia, I like. Feast for Odin, I love. Terra Mystica is fine. Arcanum, the card game, I think I would like. Clank Legacy, maybe. I felt like Clank was only okay. It didn't speak to me. I don't know enough about Eclipse. Root, I don't like. Everdell, I haven't played. And Viticulture, I do like. That's the top 30. Does that count? Do we get some good ones in there? All right. I'm going to count that to answering your question. Oh, really bad audiobooks on double speed. Yes. Twice the speed makes them twice as bad, right? When I listen to these like young adult novels and you have some of these girls speaking and they're very immature, and then you put it on double speed and then they talk really high and they sound even more immature, it's sometimes I'm embarrassed for myself. Like, I will be listening to my audiobook out loud as I'm walking by Chris, and I'll be like, I know. I'm disappointed in myself too. Guilty pleasures, right? Guilty pleasures. Let's see. What else we got? What is my favorite and least favorite popular game mechanic? Let's see. It's hard to pick a favorite. I would probably say either something puzzly or economic-y. I tend to like those. Engine build. Let me say engine build. I'll say engine build. That's a good one. And then my least favorite is rolling for combat, especially when it's against someone else. If it's cooperative, I can handle it. If it's against somebody else, I get so aggravated. So aggravated. Let's see. Is there a book or TV show or film that I'm a fan of that I think would make a great board game? I think that a lot of them would make a great board game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to enjoy the board game. I have this reservation that whenever you take something that somebody loves and you put it in a different medium, I'm always leery that it's not going to be good. If you take a book and you put it into movie, I'm always like, maybe it'll be okay. Or if you take a movie or video game that's the other way. If you take a video game and try to make it into a movie or into a TV show, or if you take a board game and try to make a movie out of it or a comic book and all of those things, like, I'm always leery. I will still watch them. I will still play them. I will still attempt them, but I'm expecting to be disappointed. And then when I'm not, I'm very happy. But I'm expecting it not to go well. Let's see. Have you played any good solo games recently? I don't really play solo games, so no. Honestly, I think that I think Turing Machine would make a really good solo game. Let's see. What else we have? Someone's dad called and they fell off the live stream wagon. So sad. I hope you didn't get hurt. Let's see. Okay. Viking game, zombie game, or pirate game. Pick one and please share with us a game you like in that theme. I would probably pick zombie. I think it goes zombie, Viking, pirate. The problem is that I like the theme of zombies a little bit more right now just because I was never into horror before and I've kind of come to enjoy some zombie horrors recently. That's like TV show movie wise. Vikings are okay, but like I don't enjoy any Viking movies or Viking stories really. In fact, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla right now. And it's not as good as Odyssey. I feel like the story's not that as interesting. And I don't know. It's weird. But board game wise, I like Viking board games more. Like I love Feast for Odin. I really like Raiders of the North Sea. Champions of Midgard is fine. Like I don't know. I feel like there's more Viking board games that I'm enjoying right now, currently, than the other themes. Pirates doesn't do anything for me, basically. Like, I just don't care about pirates. But zombies, I loved Dead of Winter. That was one of my early games in the hobby that I just, like, loved so much. And I explored all that I could in it, and so I've passed it along so that other people can enjoy it and thoroughly enjoy that. But yeah, it's so hard because in my mind, like, I want zombies more than I want Vikings or pirates. But there's just better Viking games out there. I've not played Planet Unknown, so that is unknown whether or not I will like it. But it's on my list of to play. Let's see. I'm glad somebody likes Star Wars Rebellion. Somebody should. I know Chris played it a couple years ago, and he enjoyed it. Let me see. What else we got here? I've not played Voidfall. What was the best thing that I ate this weekend? I had some gluten-free ramen. So I think it's the Lotus something brand. They make a gluten-free brown rice, blah, 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 ramen. And then it's just dry. And you just make your own broth and you make your own toppings and whatever. But it is the closest thing that I've gotten to a ramen. And I really enjoy it. It's chewy. And it's very hard to get chewy gluten-free noodles that don't get stuck in your teeth because they're still crunchy and they're just undercooked. But it's one of those that, like, you literally cook it for 4 minutes. Any more, any less, and you've got soggy noodles. Or you have crunchy noodles. But there's just, like, this perfect chewiness that you get at 4 minutes. Eat them quickly. Eat them fast. They're delicious. But I throw in an egg. I threw in hot dogs because my daughter had a birthday and we have 80 hot dogs left over from that barbecue. So I threw in some hot dogs and I threw in some, like, mixed veggies. And then I like to use chicken base as my broth. Like the little, it's like super salted chicken and chicken fat and flavoring and whatever. And I use that as my base. And then I throw in some sesame oil. Yeah, sesame oil. Anyways, it's good. That was my favorite meal of the weekend. It was soup, actually, since we had our whole conversation on soup. Let's see. I just have time for a couple more. Any abstract games that I am fond of? No. Yeah, the answer is no. No, I don't know. Abstract games don't do it for me. The idea of setting up traps so that you have to, like, trap somebody, or like I have to make decisions that then make you think that I'm making certain decisions so that you go this direction, but really I'm making other decisions so that I go this direction so that I get you. That's what I feel like a lot of abstract games are. I did replay Patchwork, which I hadn't played in a long, long time. I know that's under the abstract game. I didn't used to like it because I'd played on the app and it was hard to look ahead and, like, see around the Rundell. But I liked it. I liked it this time. So I will say Patchwork is probably one of the only ones there. How often do Chris and I disagree about games? We don't disagree that often about games. It's more of a how much we like or dislike a game, I think, is more what our disagreement is on. Usually, like, we like a lot of the same stuff, but I will gravitate a little bit more one direction and he'll gravitate a little bit more another direction. And so it tends to be more of a how different are we and how much we love a game or don't love a game. Sometimes we'll play a game and neither one of us like it, but one of us hated it and had a terrible experience. And we're like, no, I just like this, 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 and this. And it was, like, emotional. Whereas the other person might be like, oh, well, I mean, I didn't love it, but I didn't have, like, that visceral experience, and vice versa. So we tend to be very similar on a lot of things, especially in the very classic Euro genre. A lot of the same mechanisms we like and dislike, and there's a lot of similarity there, but there are some extremes and there are some difference. Let's see. Love watching Chris enjoy Europe for the first time. Oh, I know. It's been fun too. It's been so different watching the vlogs versus talking to Chris and, like, knowing what's going on. They have just been exhausted. they have been exhausted, the time change and everything. And so it's funny to watch these vlogs and to know how tired they are. And they're just so silly. They're so goofy, and I love it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, you're clearly like very tired right now. So anyways, that's great. All right. Do I play any 18xx games? I actually played my first one at the Dice Tower Retreat. I think it's 1843. And I might or might not have walloped everybody else. No, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I have to say, I think I played with training wheels on because my buddy that was teaching us is a math whiz, and so he did all the math. He was just like, okay, this is how much you earn. And he just said it, you know what I mean? Like, I could think through the process, like work my own way through the process. But he just did all of that for me. And so it also helped that he was running the game and knew the game. It was pretty awesome. But I really enjoyed it, and I feel like the decisions were fun to make. And it's interesting because I'd played Cities of the Big Shoulders, which everyone had said, like, oh yeah, you have your own stocks, and you have your company versus your own bank. And so I understood that concept already going into it. And then when we played, I was like, oh, I felt like this was easier than City of the Big Shoulders, because City of the Big Shoulders is this whole like worker placement game that you're playing and doing, and then you're running these stocks on the side. Whereas this was more like directly that what your trains were doing directly affected your income. So I felt like it was easier. Anyway, all of that said, would I play it again? Yes, I would play it again, definitely. Would I try another one? Sure. One thing that my friend also said is that this tended to be a little bit of a nicer one. You're less likely to tank each other's corporations. And I do remember that was something about City of the Big Shoulders that I didn't love. Was Chris and I had played it a couple times, and we played very kindly and very nicely. And then the wheels started turning, and we started realizing that we could like trash each other's stocks, and mess up each other's companies. And that's, I think, when it got weird. We started like spending money on, I don't remember, it wasn't spending money on stupid stuff, but we were like buying stocks, and then we were like lowering the price by selling them, and just stuff like that I was like, oh, okay, this is different. This gets a little bit more mean, and it gets into a territory that like I don't comprehend. And so I'm curious when I try some other 18xx games in the future, how I'll feel about all of that. Because I love positive interaction. I love, let me invest in your company, and your company grows, and you help my company grow, and we all work together. I don't know. I love that kind of competitiveness. But if I'm like, ooh, I'll help you, ha ha ha, no I won't, watch me just like destroy you, that I enjoy less. So, all right, well, I think we're running out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up here. Thanks so much for joining us today. Make sure to send that email to contest@dicetower.com so you can get those in for that Game Nerds prize. And yeah, it has been a great time hanging out with you all. Thanks so much. I'm Wendy Yi. Thanks for having us at the Dice Tower, and have a fabulous Monday. All right, let me go ahead and end this stream right here. I think that's the button I click. Yep. Okay. There we go. There she goes. There she goes. All right. I know I said I don't play solo games, but let me figure out this Turing machine thing. Whew. See what happens. All right. So what do I have here? I have this triangle. Okay, so triangle is equal to 1, and triangle is greater than 1. Okay, so basically this is an either or test. This one over here is another either or test. I have a 0 is even, or 0 is odd. Okay, so kind of, I need to test this once, I need to test this once. Let's see what else I need to do. This one over here says that how many 4s are in the number. So I'm trying to find a 3-digit number. There's going to be 1 triangle, 1 circle, and 1 square. And I'm trying to figure out that 3 different number is going to be 4s. And then over here, okay, I'm trying to figure out the relationship between triangle and circle. So there's a lot of triangle and circle going on here. There's some 4s going on here, and then this is evens, the number of evens. So I think what I want to do for my first test, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a 3-digit number, and then I'm going to do a test on that. I'm going to go ahead and see if, this is the question. This is the question that I always wonder is when I have a test like this. Okay, so I have this test where triangle can be equal to 1 or triangle can be greater than 1. Then do I go with the 1 because then I know that it can erase all the other content, or do I go with a higher number because it doesn't matter? Or really, it doesn't matter at all. Should I just go for evens? I could test this one and this one. I can make purple even, and then I can see how many evens there are. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to make triangle a 1, and I'm going to make this purple one a 2 because I'm going to make it even. Oops, that's not purple. I made purple a 2. And then should I make another even number? I'll probably make another even number. I'm going to guess a 4. So my number is going to be 1, 4, 2. So let's see how this goes. So I'm going to take a 1 of triangle, a 4 of square. Oops, I got too many ones. A 4 of square, and a 2 of circle. Okay, this is where the magic happens. I'm going to then do my first test, lining up everything. And it's going to say that test is incorrect. Oh, that's so sad. I was really hoping that triangle would be 1, because then it would let me know, like, exactly what it is. It is not. So there's a little X there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this because X marks the spot. So I did test A, and it was an X. So I'm going to put an X there. And so I'm going to mark off that triangle cannot be equal to 1. And triangle is greater than 1. That's what I've learned so far. Let's see. Oh, I guess I'm still live streaming. Oops. Didn't know that was happening. Anyways, y'all can join me and have fun. So my A was a no-go. Haha, get it? A was a no-go. I'm going to test B to see if purple is even. Let's check this out and see. Yes, purple is even. So circle is even, which means I can cross off all the odd ones on purple. Oops. I was doing X's, now I'm doing lines. There we go, there we go. Okay, let's see. Last test I want to do, I think, is... Ooh, these are all good. Oh, I could see if the relationship is correct. Is blue less than purple? Because the odds of that are pretty low. I'm going to do that one for my last test. I will test D. That was correct. Yes, blue is less than purple. Hey, that is actually really good. So blue is less than purple. Success. Well, I think I got some really good hints and clues there. Okay, so I'm going to put these numbers back. 1, 4, 2. Go ahead and put those away. And then I'm going to make another guess. So now I know that blue is greater than 1. I know nothing about yellow. Maybe I should have done something to learn something about yellow. And I know that blue is less than purple. So that means purple cannot be 2 because blue is not 1, right? I think my logic is there. Tell me if my logic is wrong. So because blue is less than purple, it cannot be that. So that means purple has to be a 4, right? 4 is my favorite number, so I'm hoping so. Oh, I should put on a hat. That would be great. Maybe if I put on a hat, my brain would explode and I would be full of great logic and knowledge and all that jazz. Okay, so I want purple to be 4 because that's clearly the right answer. I know nothing whatsoever about yellow, so I'm going to make it 4 as well. just because I like the number 4. And then, so blue cannot be 4 because it has to be less than purple, right? So it has to be a 3 or a 2. I'm going to pick a 3. Yeah, I'm going to pick a 3 for this. I think so. So I think I only need to do, oh, that was not the right color. I think the only test I need to do here, oops, grab that. This is outrageous. I won't stand for it. How could this be? Ugh. All them old whippersnappers and their cool slang and their saggy pants and their belts. I don't know. I don't even know what that reference is for. Okay, so I have 3, 4, 4. That's my next guess. 3, 4, 4. That is a 4. I swear, I promise. Okay, so I don't need to do these two because they're answered. This one is answered. So really, I just only have 2 tests that I need to do on this one. So first, how many evens? Nope, this is how many 4s. Just kidding. How many 4s? There are 2 4s. So that is correct. That is level C. So there's 2 4s. And since I know the blue one cannot be a 4, yellow has to be 4, right? Well, that's nifty. I'm feeling real smart right now. This is my best game ever, and I did it live. Oh, that would be fun to dress up like everyone else from The Office. Let's see. This is the thing, though. So if I was Z, I would wear a baseball cap, and I would wear a t-shirt with some sort of like plaid shirt over the top. How would I dress up like anybody else is really the question. Because to be Roy, I could draw circles on my ears so that they look gauged. And then I could like draw all over my arm with Sharpie, stick figure Sharpie. Be perfect. Okay, so this one right here, now I'm doing the evens. There are 2 evens. Okay, so I think that I accidented upon the correct answer here. So there's 2 evens, that's E. So that means, so we know that yellow is 4, and that means blue cannot be a 2. So the answer is 3, 4, 4. This is our moment of truth. I'm gonna open up our handy dandy rulebook here and see the solution. So I did number 9, and I'm gonna pull this over, and my answer is 3, 4, 4. Ding, 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 ding. I am the winner, and you all helped me do it, mostly. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for real this time. I just really wanted to play this one live because I feel like it would be better as a solo game than as a community game. But thoroughly enjoy the deduction of it. Enjoy all of you as well. Thanks for having a fabulous time here. Right, is that the right camera? Haha. What did this say? Suspenders and a hat for Tom, for sure. Costumes, good stuff. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. I'm Wendy Yi. I hope you have a fabulous Monday. And stay tuned for more. Tom's coming back. He's going to do a Q&A tomorrow. There's some other live stuff going on this week. So stay tuned. Have fun. Keep watching.